Okay, it's Paul Norman here, managing editor of CoStar News in the UK. I'm here with lead editor from our sister title in France, Business Immo, Luc-Etienne Rouillard, Lafond. And we are delighted to have Philippe Cervesi, president of Corum Asset Management, to talk to us really particularly because you've been very busy across, well, both markets that we're really interested in. So delighted to hear why that is and what you've been up to here in MIPIM.
Yeah, and obviously very active in the UK and across Europe over the last year, Philippe. At the beginning of 2024, you told Business Immo you saw an investment window, if you remember, to take advantage of good opportunities. How did you navigate that period at Corum Asset Management?
Yeah, thank you, Luc-Etienne. Delighted also to be with you guys today. I would say that window started actually by the end of 22, beginning of 23. With the environment that we all know, interest rates going up, pricing going down, a lot less competition on the markets. Since the beginning of that period, we've had the chance to invest more than 2 billion, which has been, of course, a good thing because we all know that the values have dropped. So normally, in this context, you make quite good business. I would say that window is probably going to close in the future. I don't have a crystal ball. Is it 12 months? Is it 15 months? I don't know. But 25 might be one of the last year where you can really take profit of those pricing down, that moment with a bit less competition. So 25 will be actually quite a big year for us. How we navigated, I would say that we tried to be as much opportunistic as we could. The approach in certain countries was different. Some people accepting repricing, some people taking more time. So we've been more active when people liked that repricing, when they appreciate it. And now maybe 25 will be more active in market where not much happened during the last 2 years, but people will have to move, will have to sell buildings.
And you've been a prolific investor, one of the most prolific in regional offices in the UK and other assets, but that's been really interesting to follow. And I guess you've answered a little bit of that they've repriced pretty quickly, but what's attracted you to that sector?
The first event that broke us in the UK is Brexit. We started in 2017. It was really interesting. Price of real estate dropped, and the pound also dropped quite heavily. So that really opened the window for us. We started indeed by doing quite some regional offices, but also retail parks, a bit of industrial, and we continued. That allowed us to buy a lot of real estate based on a pound that was very, very low. We have a big London office right now, so we really have teams that are on the ground that knows very well those markets. And we continue to invest. The last 2 years have been great opportunities because we were allowed to buy stuff that were really difficult to buy for us in the past, like retail, supermarkets, retail parks, hotels. They were really expensive before 2022. Now we can also take positions on that kind of assets. And of course we would like to continue, and 25 will be a challenge. We're looking at two things: recovery of the market, because we see that the UK is recovering, and also movement of the pound, which is of course a bit higher than when we entered into that market.
Okay.
Philippe, you were talking about a window maybe closing in the next to 12 to 15 months. In the meantime, where do you see opportunities from a geographical or sector standpoint across Europe?
Yeah, I think that the sectors are really important here because we've all seen that logistics, for example, there was still a lot of competition even during the last 2 years, so difficult for us. We tried and we succeeded to do a few acquisitions, mainly in the south of Europe, but it's difficult. I think that retail and hotels are definitely back in the game. We all have to remember that 5 years ago a lot of people were telling it's finished, retail is finished, hotel is finished, and we see now that they are among the most, let's say, assets that are the more searched by the investors, that a lot of investors really keen to buy and to put money in those asset classes. And offices, no more a big word. That MIPIM was interesting for this. We hear a lot of people coming back and say, yeah, now I might look offices again if it's the right location, if it has the right tenant. So sectors will be important. We will remain quite active in offices because We think that market overreacted on offices, so pricing are still attractive. And we will continue to do also retail and hotels, because 25 might be one of the last years where we can still buy volumes for those asset classes. In terms of countries, we'll be very opportunistic. We are currently doing stuff in the UK, in the Netherlands, in Ireland, in Italy, in Portugal, so still quite diversified.
Just one thing I'd like to ask, well, one of the talking points here has been the French funds, and a lot of people are really excited about how much they might be prepared to invest. What's driving that, and what are the challenges, I guess, for the French funds? I mean, obviously it sounds like it's a land of opportunity when you're here, but
I think there are two important things here. 10 years ago, we were among the only one, I think, to purchase in foreign countries in Europe, and a lot of people in France didn't really understand what we were doing. What we thought at that moment was that there was too much money in France and Germany, so too much competition, and there was less competition in those countries. So it was quite interesting in terms of, let's say, ratio between price and quality of the assets. So nowadays, a lot of SCPIs are now going abroad, as you said, for two reasons. The first one is that France didn't reprice so much. Usually, the country that have the highest pricing, like Germany or France, take more time, to accept the repricing. So there is a bit less opportunity in France. That's the first thing. The second thing is that for those funds, they have money, and one of the important things for them is timing. They need to be able to buy fast that money to get some returns and distribute the return to their investors. So in the UK, for example, they can close a deal in 6 weeks, while in France it will take you 6 months. So that makes also a big difference. But we have to be careful. And we always say at Corum that if you are buying abroad, you need to have experts of those markets. You need to have offices there. You cannot depend on agents in those countries. So I think that one of the next steps that will be really important for all those actors to protect their French clients will be to have people on the ground advising them on those acquisitions.
Well, thank you so much for that. It was really interesting, and obviously a lot for listeners to ponder there. I think an opportunity. They should be picking the phone up to you, I would think, after this. But well, many thanks for that, and yeah, you can watch it on CoStar News and Business Immo. Many thanks.